Hello guys, in a previous video I showed you how to make a plain head. It's a great exercise for 3D sculptors who want to practice heads. So if you didn't watch that video, you can watch this one. It's shorter, it's only 1.5 minutes, and if you don't want to watch this, just skip this part. After this short head plane intro, I'm going to show you how I make a realistic head in Blender, starting from the plain head. And I decided to make a video on this topic because after publishing the previous one, I got a question saying, Marat, could you possibly make a video on the transition between the head plane phase to the next one? Somehow the lines from the plane phase still remain on a sculpt of mine, and the smoothing up process somehow is a pain. So I decided, why not? It's an interesting topic and I will make a video on it, especially taking into account the fact that I myself never did a head out of a plain head, so I decided to try. And for those of you who probably want to try to sculpt a realistic head from plain head with me, I have uploaded the plain head that I did myself on my Artstation account. The link where you can download it for free will be below the video. It is a little bit different from this one, but still you can start from that. Although I recommend you to practice making plain head yourself, so you will be familiar with the basic head shapes, and that will be very helpful for you in the long-term perspective in practicing head sculpts. So let's start with the realistic head sculpting. First of all, I have collected a couple of references of the head. I picked this very masculine guy from mixed martial arts because I like him, and also his face features are very pronounced. And when I'm looking for the references, I try to find the side view of the head and also the 3/4 view. I find those very helpful. And then I started sculpting. For those who are interested, his name is Alex Pereira. He's from Brazil. I started with the front view of the plain head. I decided to remesh it first. For that, in Blender you simply need to click R and then drag your mouse and pick the desired resolution, and then simply hit Ctrl R. And why I did it in the beginning? Because I wanted to go a little bit in the lower resolution, because I'm going to change bigger shapes first. In the beginning I mostly use grab brush and change slightly the features, shapes of the mouse and eyes, and if needed to get rid of those lines, I simply smooth them holding shift. In the beginning I decided to stay as long as possible in the front view position and try to bring all the basic head shapes of the plain head as closer to the reference as possible. Again, I'm smoothing up the forehead lines holding the shift. Next, I'm showing what I normally do in the beginning when I change the focal length size from 50 to 100. And that focal length size is very good for portrait sculpting. Otherwise, your model head may look like a fish. For example, you can see how changing focal length of the camera can change the face. Next, I'm sculpting in the side view, and to switch between the views quickly, I normally use the hotkey tab. Here I'm also correcting the basic shapes of the head from the side, looking at the references. I'm adding some volumes in the place where I'm planning to put eyes, because my plain head doesn't have any. Everything I'm still making using the grab brush. By the way, mostly used brush by me. Also, I changed the resolution of the ear, as you see. And using draw sharp brush, I just added some lines which give some basic shape to the ear. So in this short period of time, you can see that we already having some kind of a head that is looking like normal head. With the draw sharp brush, I'm defining the sidelines of the head and of the forehead. At this point, I decided to higher up a little bit the resolution of the model and symmetrized it. I added symmetry to the quick favorites, so when I hit Q, I can quickly pick that option. After that, I'm smoothing the whole head because now it has more polygons and has denser resolution. And at this stage, I'm losing some details of the head, and I will have to redo them, but since I have now more resolution, they will be more sharper and detailed. Here I'm starting to work on the eyes, added a little bit of volumes and smoothed it out. And first of all, I'm marking the size of the eyes with those small dots and then drawing the eye shape with draw sharp brush again. Again, at this point, I decided to up the resolution a bit more, because in order to look good, our eyes need to have more resolution. Here I started masking the inside part of the eye and then inverted the mask. And with the grab brush, I'm just pulling it in and smoothing the eye corners here. And now it looks really ugly, so don't be scared if you have the same result in the beginning. Next, I have created a sphere and rotated it in the x-axis on 90 degrees, and in the edit mode scaled it down and put it in the desired place where the eye socket is, then moved it in front in the side view. And I use Shift Z to switch to the wireframe mode. Then I'm applying the subdivision modifier to the eye and the mirror modifier as well. When you use mirror modifier in the X axis, make sure that you have your pivot point right in the center, otherwise your eye will go somewhere else. I mean the second eye. Here I'm fixing the shapes of the eye around the eyeballs. Still, the head is looking very ugly and it needs more patience. And I find making the eye shapes one of the most difficult parts when sculpting the head. Because if eyes are not looking good, the whole model will be looking very, very ugly and off. So I try to spend more time on the eyes, especially on the basic shapes. I don't know how these small things are called in English, which are in the corners of the eyes, but we definitely need to make them if we want to look eyes good. Again, in the edit mode, I'm placing eyes a little bit closer to each other to make sure that they looking okay. The cheekbones are considered to be the widest part of the face, so I push those side parts of the head in a little bit. Here I'm adding some volumes on top of the eye. These volumes are very important in making our eyes to look more realistic. And with these small changes, you can already see that our eyes are getting some shapes and already looking much better than they were. Also, I'm adding some volume in the cheekbones. I'm doing that intuitively. I feel that I need more volume there. And of course, I'm always using references, so nothing I get from my head. Now I decided to add some lines to get the shape of the nose right, and also carving in the nostrils. And after I carved in nostrils deep enough, you can see that there are polygons stretched, and I again pressed Ctrl R to remesh and recalculate topology to get rid of that stretching. With clay strips brush, I'm carving in and adding some volumes to the nose where needed. Here I decided to use Scrape Peaks brush to flatten out the sides of the head. In this phase I started giving the shapes to the lips, added the center line with the Draw Sharp brush, and holding Ctrl in the Draw Sharp brush I did that protruding line in the bottom of the lips and gave some volume to the lips with clay strips. By the way guys, if you are liking this video, don't forget to hit like, share and comment and subscribe. All that things will help the YouTube algorithm to find my video and to show it to more people. Here I'm giving the shapes to the upper lip simply by using the grab brush. I love adding some volumes with clay strip brush to the head. That gives the feeling that I'm working with the real clay, but that is possible if you have pretty high resolution, and of course that depends on the characteristics of your machine. So if your machine is relatively good, it can handle those polygons, try it. If not, then you will have to work in the lower resolution. Here you can notice that I'm having issues in the trying to add volume in the nostril from the inside. And to get rid of that, I checked the front faces option in the tool options. In ZBrush, this option is called back face masking. So in case you didn't know, Blender has it also. And you can notice that I'm switching from one part of the face to another one, like I sculpt a little bit the nose, and then I started making the lips, and then I come back to the eyes, and then back to the nose. That's absolutely normal practice, because you cannot sculpt the one part of the face completely till the end. For example, the eyes, and then switch to the nose and sculpt it out till the end. It's not working like that linearly. I rather prefer to add one level of details to one part of the face and then go to other and try bring that part to the previous one in terms of details, and then switch between the part of the faces and going from lower to the higher and higher detailed faces. And right now I started giving the more detailed shapes to the eyes, finally, hoping that it will start looking better. I masked this bottom lid of the eye just to pull upper lid down, and I often use this technique if I want to pull the lids, eyelids or mouse lips up and down without affecting the opposite one. And then if I need, I simply invert the mask and work on the other part. Now the time came to define the eyelid and finally give it proper shape. And you can see that just adding that small line already gives something to us, some more definition to the eye. Also, what I wanted to mention is that carving in that part of the eye gave so much to the overall look of the eye shape. And adding some volume on top of the eyelid made it look more complete. I also find that sometimes it's very useful to use clay strips brush for carving in some shapes. Again, it gives me the feeling of working with the real clay, like I'm using some real instruments to carve in where I want to. Along with the eyes, I find that defining the mouth is also very important if you want your character to look more expressive and overall looking good. So I tried to spend more time on the lips and the features coming around the mouth, and also the chin, since this is the fighter and you have to look like a real man, you know. I like defining the eyebrows with inverted draw sharp brush, and to invert it you simply hold Control and use it, and you can add some volumes around with the clay strips. At this part with the draw sharp brush, I'm giving some shapes to the lower eyelid and to the other parts of the face. I'm just wanting to give some pronounced look to some specific areas of the face where we normally have fat pads, and also the bony landmarks like cheeks and the nose. Also, I find very important to work more on the shape of the jaw and to work on it from different angles, not only from the side view but also from the bottom and from the front, and to rotate it from different angles to see and understand if everything is done correctly. I'm trying to define here the bony parts of the face, like you can understand that there is a skull under the soft parts of the face, and using draw sharp brush helps to that a lot. Since this is the strong male character, looking at the reference, I'm adding some more volumes on top of the eyebrows. Here I started sculpting eyebrows using the clay strips brush, and for that I picked really low values of radius and up the strength of the brush, and I must say it works amazingly for making eyebrows. And you can also try picking different sizes of this brush to make different size of small hair strands. And also I'm using the same technique for the sculpting the beard and the mustache small hairs. And also I'll be using the same for sculpting small hairs on the head, which this character has. I didn't have the goal to make it really detailed head sculpt. I just wanted to make a sketch and kinda quickly sculpt out the hairs without spending too much time, because otherwise it can take really a lot of time, like one or a couple of days. But I needed to make something for the tutorial, so of course, if you want, you can spend more time and make it more detailed. Yeah, I'm just adding some quick brush strokes on the head, just to have something and to have more or less overall good look of the sculpt. Here I noticed that I completely forgot to sculpt the ears. The hotkey to switch between the objects in sculpt mode is Alt Q. I also made the denser topology and started working on the ears now. As always, using grab brush in the beginning and then smoothing it out, and then working with clay strips and draw sharp It's actually really amazing that in Blender you can use very limited brush and at the same result get pretty decent results in sculpting. And if you have really good machine, then that can handle high amount of polygons, you can go really deep into the details. But if you don't have high performance machine, still try where your machine can go. Just don't forget to save your project from time to time, because it can freeze and you can lose your progress. As always, I'm going from low resolution to higher gradually, and again I lost some details, and again smoothed the ear and started giving it again. I don't know how you guys, but I never had any big issues with sculpting the ears. I know that some people have issues with that, but for me it was always easiest part. I don't know why, maybe for you also. And what I wanted to say, like, don't hesitate writing comments under this video if you have any questions, any suggestions, or anything you want to discuss, or you're struggling with something. I read normally all the comments and try to answer to the asking person. That's no problem. Also, I'm very interested to know if you like this format of longer videos. Just let me know, because some subscribers were asking to make longer videos. I'm making it now with no cuts, and it's only twice speed up. And I hope that this format will really help you to maybe improve your sculpts in Blender. And I know that some people, they even don't know that it's possible to make detailed sculpts in Blender, and they just don't make what they can, thinking that ZBrush is too expensive now and it is what it is. No, you can do pretty awesome stuff in Blender still. In the real time, I spent about 12 minutes on these ears. I remember I checked the time when I was doing that. And overall on this head sculpt I spent about 4 hours, but I'm not sure. Something around that. Maybe 5. I didn't work too much on the back part of the ears, because I didn't want to spend time on that and nobody sees it too much. So making some realistic eye in Blender came out pretty simple. So I just added edge loop in the edit mode and extruded the central part. I never did it in Blender before because I was sculpting mainly in ZBrush, but it came out really fast and easy, unexpectedly. And normally I spend a lot of time at this point, because when I do that, extrude that pupil, it looks that something is off and I need to change overall shapes of the eye, but this time luckily everything came out well right away. Right away the model is looking very symmetrical and it is not normal, and in the end of the video I will break the symmetry of the face so it will be looking more realistic. And you will see that those minor changes to the head will bring life to the head sculpt. Here is not much things happening. I'm just adding a little bit of short hairs details in the back of the head. Since nobody will see it, I'm not bothering too much about it, just randomly adding some strokes. Like I said before, at this part I started breaking the symmetry. I switched off the symmetry and started using a grab brush mainly for that. Just pulling up or down some parts of the faces gives some visual interest. I'm adding also some small dents in the face here and there, and some kind of scratches. At some point the cavity option switched on itself when I was switching to object mode, and I switched it off here. But I find that sometimes it gives really good look, so I decided to leave it in the end. now when the head is complete, I'm trying different viewport shading options just to see how it will look, and some of them are giving really interesting results. In the end, I decided to define a little bit more some bony parts of the face, hoping to add some more expression. And now the head is complete. I finally was satisfied with overall look and decided to stop. I hope that you guys also liked this video, and if you want more this kind of content, write in the comments. I'm always interested in knowing your opinion. Tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next videos.